I keep getting asked to create a knowledge base of cooking skills and techniques so people can have access to what they need when they need it. I figured I could use these videos to do just that, and in this first episode, I want to focus on one of the most commonly used ingredients, the onion. I'll be showing you some of the most common ways to cut an onion, and along the way, I'll give you some uses for each of those cuts. Let's get into it.
Let's start with the easiest way to cut an onion, rings. Each time you do anything with any onion, you're going to need to peel them. The easiest way to do that is to cut off the non-root end and then slice it down the middle. We can't do that because with the rings, we need the onions mostly intact, so we'll make a small slit into the outermost layer of the onion and then just get to work on peeling. No real trick to this. You can slice off the root end, just be sure to leave enough of the end in place to hold the whole onion together. Just barely shave off the root. From here, place your onion on its side and make vertical cuts all the way through. Because we have no flat side to work with, be sure to adopt a claw grip here so none of your fingers are in danger of being cut. This grip keeps your frontmost finger as a guide for the knife, either your pointer finger or your middle finger, and it keeps you from cutting yourself as you go. Go slow if you need to, there's really no rush here. Rings are mostly used in crispy fried onion rings, and that's about it. In my kitchen, there's not a ton of uses for them. Now we'll work on the julienne, which is a fancy way of saying little sticks. We can remove the sprout end and then a little bit of the root, again leaving enough for the onion to stay together. From there, we can set the onion on one of those flat sides we made and cut it straight down to get 2 equal onion halves. To get a nice, even, and consistent julienne, we need to think about the onion as a globe with a north and south pole, the sprout and root end. We'll need to make cuts running from the north to south pole, but because we cut the onion in half, this means slicing perpendicular to the half rings you see on the onion's face. So place the sprout end, the north pole, pointing towards your knife, and make cuts directly into that pole, going almost all the way through to the root. These can be really close together for a finer texture or further apart for a thicker strip. Not cutting all the way through allows us to just cut off the root end, and then we're left with perfect strips at the end. These are perfect for a ton of different things. They can be pickled to make pickled red onions, you can top your burger with these, or if you make larger cuts, these work amazingly in stir fries or for fajitas. The next cut is a low-effort, easy rustic dice. This will follow the same process as the julienne up to the point where you make your perpendicular cuts. Cut the pole same as before and peel your onion. We'll make 6 or 7 of those perpendicular cuts and then turn the onion 90 degrees. From there, we'll make cuts through the onion all the way down to the root end. You'll notice that as we do, all the pieces fall off into nice rustic squares. I say rustic with this one because we're not really shooting for precision, more just for getting the onion broken down. You can cut off little bits around the root end and use as much of the onion as possible, but once you get there, you're done. This is a perfect way to cut an onion if you don't need to worry about the actual texture and just need to get it done quickly. I use this regularly for sauces and braises, things where the onion is going to cook for quite a while. This is also great for caramelizing because they're large enough to not completely fall apart in the long cook. Think about this as kind of your grandma cut. Okay, now we're getting into the cuts that involve a little bit more knife work. The medium dice is a little bit more refined and consistent version of what we just did. This fulfills a very similar role, but you get a much more even dice and a prettier look to it. Peel and half your onion, same as before. Once you've got your halves, make a few horizontal cuts into the onion by placing your knife parallel to the cutting board. I find that 3 cuts is a good amount for a medium dice. To do this smoothly, pull your knife as you go through the onion. Don't just push it in. Keep the root intact here again so the layers stay together. Once those cuts are made, we can make vertical cuts, being careful to not slice through the root end again. Try to keep the distance between each cut even. We're now entering the territory where evenness is actually important. Turn the onion 90 degrees and slice through to make your dice. Keep these about the same distance as your other cuts and you'll have a really consistent cubed dice. These serve the same purpose as the rustic dice from before, but it's a little bit more attractive and it's a little slower to do. Use these for sauces, long-cooked dishes, or something like a pico de gallo. We're now onto the brunoise. This sounds really fancy, but it's basically a fine dice. So we need these to be even squares, smaller than just a few millimeters. Don't be too harsh on yourself though. We're just cooking at home. Gordon Ramsay's not here to call you an idiot sandwich. We've got our halved onions and we're going to make horizontal cuts, but this time we need at least 4 or more. Once those are done, make your vertical cuts and be sure to get them really close together. Again, a couple millimeters apart. Once you've gotten all the way through like that, turn your onion 90 degrees and make the final slices through. They're going to be close together, so you're going to end up with a really, really nice fine dice or brunoise. This cut works really well as a garnish or for any pan sauces. This is also what I prefer for onions on tacos. You get a really nice clean onion flavor without needing large pieces, and they look great on the plate. Delicious. Okay, you only thought the last cut was fine. For a minced onion, I'm going to do this in 2 stages. I'll first do a very fine brunoise, smaller than the last cut, and then I'll rock my knife over the pile at the end to take the pieces down even smaller. Use the same process as the brunoise, just make your cuts a little bit closer together. Keep this nice and neat, and you'll end up with a brunoise worthy of a restaurant kitchen. To take this down to a mince, simply pile your onion and rock your knife over the pile. Keep one hand on the handle as your pinch grip, and the other hand on the heel of the knife. Take this as fine or as chunky as you like. This has pretty much the exact same use as the last brunoise, so keep one of these in your arsenal for a rainy day. Now you've got as many cuts as you need to pretty much get anything done in your kitchen. Thank you so much for watching. For a crazy delicious take on breakfast burritos, check out my smothered burrito video. Consider supporting me on Patreon like these amazing people do. Cheers!